Hi guys, it's Friday. Happy Friday. Hope you have your school spirit shirt on today. I wore my Choose Kind shirt for today. So here we go. We're going to start our chapter 7, and it's about Jeremy. Remember Jeremy, our misfit? He's a misfit that nobody understands him, and he believes in the Bigfoot and no one wants to believe him. And he has two talented brothers, so his parents are always trying to find what talent he has. So let's hear what happens in this part. You can just make a prediction at the end when I'm done. I'm not going to ask you to write anything today, okay? For years, Jeremy's parents, Martin and Suzanne, clung to the idea that their youngest son had a musical prodigy. It had started when, in kindergarten, the music teacher had scribbled down that he shows promise beneath his grade, which was only satisfactory. Martin and Susan had seized on those two words with panicked desperation. Music, said Martin. Of course, said Suzanne, and sighed deep with relief. They'd usher little Jeremy into the dining room, a room they hardly ever used unless there were some important matters to discuss or a big decision to make. This was the room where Noah eventually decided between MIT and Caltech, the room where Ben would sit and meet with his college coaches who'd come calling. You are a musical prodigy, his mother announced. A genius, she said, after Jeremy just stared at her. Jeremy might have just been a little kid, but he knew two things. The first was that to keep his parents happy, he needed to be a standout in something. The second was that he was pretty sure he wasn't a musical prodigy. He was just okay at music, but not great. But his parents were gazing at him with such love and hope, the way they used to seeing them look at his brothers, that Jeremy wanted to be the star they'd hoped for, a boy that they could love. The oboe had been his father's suggestion. Jeremy had requested guitar lessons, but his parents told him that the oboe was more unusual and that Jeremy's mastery of a difficult instrument would give him more opportunities at youth orchestras and local symphonies and even eventually at colleges. If there are 6 violinists and only 1 oboist, you are a shoo-in, the father explained. But what if I'm the best violinist? Jeremy asked. He didn't want to play the violin, but he wanted to play the guitar. But even a violin had to be better than an oboe. Martin had frowned. Oboist, oboe player. Hun, do you know what that is? Do you know what that's like? His parents went off to consult a dictionary. Jeremy noticed that his father hadn't even considered the possibility that Jeremy might not be the best at something. Maybe they believed he was a prodigy, but it also seemed like they were, as his Papa Frank liked to say, hedging their bets. That's like when you pray for rain, but dig a well while you're praying, Papa Frank had explained. It was months before Jeremy learned to blow into an oboe's reed and produce a sound that sounded like music and not like a small amount of moaning out of the depths of the deep jungle. He practiced for an hour a day, grimly mastering scales and simple tunes. And like Somewhere Over the Rainbow, he tried not to be hurt when Shayna, the family's Sheltie, crawled underneath his bed when he practiced and ignored his brothers when they covered their ears and offered him money and comic books in exchange for being quiet. Very good, his teacher would tell him. He played 7 instruments, including the bagpipes, and would praise Jeremy's diligence and hard work. Nice effort, he'd say. Keep it up. Jeremy knew that wasn't the same as saying he played well or that he was playing beautifully. For a few years, Jeremy's efforts with the oboe seemed to be enough to keep his parents happy, and Jeremy's own musician, his mother would say, he's our own musician, she'd repeat again, after she would be describing Ben's latest feats on the football field or how Noah was planning on spending his summer working on some farm with his mathematics professors from Princeton. Jeremy played with local youth orchestra and spent his summers in music camps. Finally, when he turned 10, his parents made some calls and got Jeremy a chance to apply for the pre-college division program at the Juilliard School in New York City. Jeremy was instructed to prepare 2 pieces of music for the panel, and so, in between rounds of Mario Kart and reading Steven's Universe comics, he practiced. Hedwig's theme from Harry Potter, Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses, which he had arranged himself. His parents were practically glowing as they loaded up the car for the 2-hour trip to the city. While Jeremy's father packed the car, Susan whisked Jeremy out the door where they had a Scotch tape sign that read auditions. Past the door was an auditorium, and the rows of empty seats in the front were brilliantly lit up. Up front in the first row were an older gentleman in a tweedy suit, a younger woman in a floor-sweeping dress with a colored embroidered top, and another woman, middle-aged, wearing jeans and a plaid shirt hunched over a yellow legal pad. "Jeremy," called the tweedy man in a rich, rolling voice, "if you would." With sweat-like, slick hands, Jeremy unfolded his sheet music and forced his wooden legs to deliver him to the stage. Even before he set his lips on the reed, even before he'd blown his first note, he knew there was no way that Juilliard was going to take him. He couldn't do anything new or special, and he could just tell. In 10 minutes of being in Juilliard, that was the place for rare, special people. His parents, his brothers, they belonged in places like this. Jeremy could be here only to deliver someone's lunch or take out their trash. He finished Sweet Child of Mine with a little swagger, knowing he had nothing left to lose. The tweedy man gave him a curt nod, and the woman in jeans looked over his head towards the door. "How'd it go?" asked Jeremy's father, who was waiting outside, keeping an eye on the car, which was parked illegally. "Fine," said Susan in a voice that was too high and too bright. Jeremy felt the air shift as his parents exchanged a glance. So let's see. What do you guys think? What is your prediction for this today? What's going to happen to Jeremy? Is he going to become this musical prodigy that his parents want him to become? That's it for today. Happy Friday. I'm going to finish that chapter on Monday to see what happens to Jeremy. We'll be working next week on problem and solution. We predicted all week this week in our stories, and next week we're going to do some problem and solution. So I will see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Miss you. Bye.